Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the inaugural International 10-Ball Bigfoot Challenge. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. This is a Pat Fleming production, and it's brought to you by Accu-Stats. We're in the Simonis Aramuth Arena here at the Sheraton Norfolk Waterside Hotel, the hosts of the International for the past 4 years, and we want to say thanks to them for their great hospitality once again. We also want to thank Diamond Billiard Products for being the official table of the international events and providing us this beautiful 5x10 one-piece slate pro pocket Bigfoot table for our champions to challenge coming up for you right now. It's going to be exciting. This is the second of our 5 10-ball matches for the day, so please stay with us right through to the end. It's now my pleasure to introduce our 2 competitors. Our first player is from Estonia. He's a former World Pool Series Aramuth 9-ball champion, and he's sponsored by Predator. Would you kindly welcome Denis Grabe? Thank you. His opponent's from Scotland. This gentleman is a 3-time Bigfoot 10-ball champion from the Derby City Classic. No one else has that accomplishment, and he's sponsored by Perry Hughes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Eagle Eye, JAYSON Shaw. Okay, guys, lag for the break, if you would, please. Your official timekeeper is John Baker. We're going to send it upstairs to the commentary box to Mark Wilson and Mosconi Cup captain Double J, Jeremy Jones. Take it away up there, guys.
Welcome, pool fans and friends. We're here at the International Open Bigfoot Championship. My name is Mark Wilson. Alongside me, Jeremy Jones. And Jeremy, most everybody already knows this is my favorite tournament to broadcast because I love the 5x10 so much. You have any opening viewpoints here that we might be interested in?
Well, Kenny Shulman said it as easily as it can be said. JAYSON Shaw, 3-time winner on the 10-foot. And we've only had probably at the Derby, 10 of them, maybe? 9 of them at the Bigfoot, somewhere around there. So winning a vast majority of them, as you could say, for one player anyways. But Denis Grabe, I haven't seen a lot on the 10-foot from Denis. I don't recall him playing in it before at the Derby. Now, maybe he has slid in there once or twice, but interesting to see how the 10-foot affects him.
Yeah, I don't recall him, and I've broadcast every one of them, and I do not recall him in the 10-foot. If it was only once. He's a great player, though, a super straight shooter. And of course, he's up against the world's best straight shooter that I've ever seen. But, he's a complete player.
Yeah, all these guys shoot straight, but like the last match, you could say that Kazakis relies on his cue ball a little more than Filler did. Mm-hmm. And the same here between Grabe and Shaw, right? Mm-hmm. You would say Grabe depends on his cue ball a little bit more than Shaw does. And just like the good cue balls, JAYSON has a great cue ball, and just like that, Denis does shoot awfully straight. You can't be a world champion without being a straight shooter. But like I said, he is a guy I think that depends on having the cue ball in line a little bit more than his opponent.
I saw an interesting poll recently, and it got me to thinking. The question was on a 5x10, is it a bigger value to play better position or a bigger value to be a straighter shooter? What holds more value? It was kind of interesting. I never came to a conclusion in my own head, but I was just thinking, never thought of it that way. I wonder what is better.
Well, I think straight shooting overall is better, period. It's almost like you might say there's some players these days that can win tournaments without the experience. It's similar to that, to where they can make a little bit of a bad decision, but their execution is so good, that they can still win in today's game, especially when we use like a template rack where the balls don't tie up as much and stuff like that. So me, myself, I think I talked about it in the last match. I like the guys that don't rely on perfect, when it comes to position. I like the guys that flow a little bit, that understand they can recover, kind of like a filler does, and he did in the last match. Under pressure, man, the guys that can knock them balls in, really, it means a lot.
Have a little tactical exchange here from a push out after the break.
This is something that I think Grabe has shown he does as well as anyone. Very smart with the kick shot.
Did not try to muscle up and blast it, but he did try to purposely get some separation, maybe introduce some clutter here.
Yeah, and I think early in the match, if he fights, right, exchanges innings with JAYSON, anytime you're an underdog, you want to get that time at the table and, of course, make JAYSON earn it. Make things difficult, make JAYSON use that brain a little bit. Probably something that JAYSON doesn't get enough credit is really the tactical side of the game. Kind of like a Skyler, I think. A lot of people just say, well, Skyler runs out, he shoots straight as heck. But the kicking and the safety part of the game maneuvers around very well.
And then throw in banking. If it's not Billy Thorpe and the Skyler Woodward are the best bankers today. This is interesting because, this diamond 10-footer, I believe, has brand new cloth. All the outer tables have worn cloth from the U.S. Open. And so this is, now you're talking about, being a little bit out of line and still being able to knock in a ball. You're going to be an extra 1.5 feet than you think, because it's going to be ultra fast compared to everything else.
Yeah, not only speed, but I brought up the same thing in the last match, Mark, that, all right, cue ball behind the 2 here, probably using the 9, 10, and 5 to just slowly play the 1 behind the 9, cue ball up behind the 2-ish. Oh, he hit it too thick. But that's another thing. That's a prime example, is the swerve of the ball on the new felt. It hugs a little bit here and there, coming off the rail. The speed is one thing, but really the line of the cue ball has a lot to do with it, with the new felt versus the little bit worn in felt on the outer tables. So would you float towards the 10 here with the cue ball? Just kind of float towards the 10, playing the 1 behind the 6, 7 maybe?
Yeah, that seems to be the easiest choice, but he's jacking up like he wants to get all the way to the end rail here at the risk of maybe giving up the 1 ball.
Yeah, fortunately got behind the 5-10 kind of, but
maybe because
no jump cues allowed.
The cloth was so slippery, he felt like he did need to elevate there.
Right.
So
it won't take the spin as much as what Mark's saying. If it's not going with the angle, if you're trying to check the cue ball going against the angle, the new felt really doesn't offer that as easy as the worn.
Right. He's hit there. And give up a shot, looks like.
I don't know. This has got that speed you were talking about and behind the 3. Yeah. So prime example of one that wouldn't have got there on the outer tables, but gets here on the new worn in.
Pretty nice crowd, so I guess it's just not just me that loves this event.
No, we had a little bigger crowd in the first match there. I think the filler sensation had a little bit to do with that, and deservingly so. But
what a great tactical battle we have going on here from the break.
Yeah, and I think this is going to bode well for Dennis. Of course, you would like to break and run out if you're Dennis and clear the table, but I think the getting Jason in that kind of battle feeling, I think is exactly what the doctor's order for Dennis. Wow. Now 110 combo maybe early. That's a pretty easy combination. I like to stay away from it myself, but maybe hard to. Is that a little too off angle? Maybe a little too off angle.
Well, he's going right to it, so he's not wasting any time on that.
Yeah, if there's not much cut on the 10, most of the guys would play this combo.
Scored it easily, so he felt very confident about that and didn't take much time. 1-0 is our score. Grabe in front of Shaw. In my 48 years in the sport, I've never seen anyone shoot as straight as JAYSON Shaw. Nowadays, filler maybe starts to rival that, but Shaw's produced it over a longer period of time. And what you were saying about the tactical side of Shaw's game that he doesn't get enough credit for, I think it's evidenced by when he was younger, let's say 6 years ago, he would come and he would just overpower you. And he reminded me of a Major League Baseball pitcher that had relied on his fastball through high school, overpower guys, college, overpower guys, low minor leagues, overpower guys. But once you get to AAA and big leagues, you got to have secondary pitches, and he never developed that. And so that's how he was then. Now, today, he's got the tactical side of the game, the safety. And he used to be, if you play one safety on JAYSON Shaw, then after that, if you play another one, he's just going to wing at something and let you have that game because he's just going to muscle past you. But now he's learned playing the Appletons and guys like that you can't just bully your way through there. You're going to have some other game. And now he does have it, too. And better. I think his tactical game, I rate, is higher than Filler's, even though Filler's execution's nearly as good. But also youth, I mean.
Yeah, the experience, right?
Jason's got burned, so he knows.
And I think Jason, who, right here made some deep runs at events. I guess the 2 doesn't pass the 7. That's why he ran the cue ball. Pretty good speed there.
Really nice shot.
I think some close, but, near misses on some big victories early for Jason probably maybe woke him up and realized that, I need to have a little bit more of just other parts of the game besides just knocking the ball in and running some racks. Because we know, you know as well as I do that it's amazing how often, you get in hill or close matches, and it's not the break and run.
Yeah.
We see a tactical battle at the end of the match. Hill, you rarely see the break and run. It's almost always a push-out situation, it seems like, or at least where both guys come to the table. So
I kind of attribute some of Jason's maturity to a wife and child.
Sure.
And I saw a tangible difference in him. He used to be a little bit of a wild man, and he might be out late partying a little bit. Nowadays, he's strictly business when he comes here. And I don't mean in an unfriendly way, but definitely I see a different intensity level.
Now, Grabe is a player that'll work the clock a little bit. Okay, wanted to get above that ball. Maybe could have used 2 or 3 more inches, but should be fine. Rack's pretty handy. Little work from the 8 to the 9, but now Grabe's a tall guy from Estonia that should set up well for this 10-footer, right?
Yeah, gives you a little bit of an advantage on a 10-footer for sure. You don't see very many good tall players, though.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of them as the sport grows, though. I think it's the ideal. Maybe not quite as tall as Dennis, but kind of like the Polish guys, very athletic. I think, and I've always said, I think a taller gentleman has a little advantage as long as you don't stretch it out there too tall, where you're bending. But a big miss and kind of a quick stroke there, huh, Mark? Kind
Pretty
of
abrupt
down,
on his
right?
transition, yeah. I always view it as the shorter guys have an advantage in pool and like other sports because their bridge hand to their grip hand is so much less distance apart. And so you don't get the wobble with the stroke, or it's not amplified like it is with a taller player. So you take a guy like me, you, who else would be tall? Shinahoff, okay, from Russia. But then after that, every time you name a tall one that plays pretty good, I'll name you 30 guys that play fantastic that are, Jimmy Karras, Alex Pagulayan, Willie Mosconi, Allison Fisher, on Dennis Arcolo. So I really think even though you can reach more shots, I think that distance between your hands makes the longer shots, the accuracy with them, somewhat diminished.
Yeah, I just think the argument is math, simple math. A little longer arc, a little easier, effortless power.
Yeah, certainly Showhand displays that.
Yeah, and JAYSON Shaw, not a small guy, not a tall guy, but a guy that displays it with that long cue. We always talk about that.
Well, you got to chart up an unforced error on Grabe here. He had a good chance to go in front 2-0. But the other part of it is they never get a chance to play on a 5x10. When would you ever play on a 5x10? Where do you even find one? So mainly the Derby or here would be the extent of it, and this is the first time ever here.
Yeah, kind of a lost part of pool, which really in professional pool hasn't been around as a constant. Probably since the late 60s, early 60s, something like that.
Late 1950s.
Oh, okay.
Switched to 9 foot.
Well, I think Jimmy Karras still holds the record in tournament play on a 10-footer, 265, I think it is. High run. Yeah,
and in non-tournament play, I think his all-time high run, it was like 308 on a 5x10. It's a big number. It's unbelievable. And Jimmy, my goodness, have you ever been around him?
Yeah, I was actually very fortunate. I moved to Jacksonville, Florida for 2 years, and to be honest with you, I was around him a lot, almost daily. And then he helped me with I got invited to the World Straight Pool event back when it was really a World's tournament, I thought, there at the Roseland Hall in New York City in 2001. And Jimmy showed me a lot about straight pool because being from the South, we really didn't play it. And, man, I was fortunate to be around that guy. But, yeah, small man, I think, is what you were getting at for a guy that really holds the records on the 5x10.
That's my point right there. That you'd think it's an advantage to reach shots, but actually accuracy comes about from that more compact frame. Okay, well, I'm going to have to kick, looks like 2 rails rather than 1. Better deal.
Yeah, the 9's a little funny, though. To me, I kind of I think he almost has to go 1 rail. Now, high ball, watch out, go long. Or he tried to play it to compensate for the ball spreading a little bit. And really a kick shot these guys are supposed to hit.
Yeah. Well, that was the second time in the match I saw his transition get super quick, too. Like he was uncertain of the shot, and then he supported it with an uncertain stroke. It wasn't that same tempo like you normally see with like Jason. He just never gets quick.
Okay, he's overran this just a touch. Not saying it's terrible, but excuse me, I couldn't see the 2 on the table. The camera had me a little bit off.
I know it.
And he's overrun this one as well. So now in a very funny spot, unless he can get below the 6 and take a cut shot on the 4, from where he's kind of sizing it up now. 5-10, very playable combination. Got to ease this, maybe? Going to the rail
think he
looks
goes
funny.
to the end rail. No,
Yeah, going to the rail looked funny to me.
Yep.
Problem with this is a lot of speed on the cue ball. Is the 5-7 playable on the side? Because I'm not sure holding for the 5-10 very doable.
No, it's going to be really tough to get on that 5-10. He might be going into him here. I think he is. No, he tried to back it up. Well, that was never online. I don't know what that was supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? Even if he hit it a third harder, he's never going to have a shot doing it.
Yeah, there wasn't a gap there. I'm not sure. Kind of reminded me of a shot in the World Cup of Pool he played on the, I don't know if you remember, on the 8 to the 9, where he lost the cue ball a couple rails in the corner on a scratch shot in a pivotal game there in the World Cup for Team England. But now Grabe, after a couple cueing mistakes, Looks like a shot on the 5 he can't even go for. It looks like going right towards that corner pocket with the cue ball. Love to overcut this and run the cue ball, but the 7 really kind of stopping the movement of the 5. I may play the 5 past the 10 on the side rail and just kind of go into the 7 with the cue ball. Sometimes you have to use this distance on the 10-footer to really protect.
I agree.
I don't really see much of anything else.
If it's iffy with the scratch, you can't gamble because sometimes the scratch is on or the scratch is not on, depending upon how it goes into the pocket.
How you hit the pocket, yeah.
And from this range and this awkward, and you're struggling early in the match, that's not the time to push the boundaries of supreme accuracy.
Would you ever just bank the 5, like kind of roam it on top of the 8 and let the cue ball just come to the end rail here?
Yeah.
And make Jason come with a shot if he does get an opening.
Just shake his hand if he makes it.
Exactly.
Just don't make an unforced error here.
Make your opponent come with a tough shot is all I can figure. This is the shot I liked originally. Yeah. Oh, he fluked the 7 in. Didn't get the 5 anywhere where he wanted, but
it worked out.
We'll just say he played it. How about that?
Yes. It all looks like a line drive in the box score tomorrow.
That's right.
When you get a dribbler. How about the Astros?
Yeah, Texas Leaguer. Oh, man, that's my team.
I do.
So.
And Altuve, I mean, seriously, he's still hitting home runs. I mean,
well, everyone wanted to see the Dodgers and the Astros, I think. I kept saying it. I think they wanted to see Jansen throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at Altuve at some point during the series. But I think Atlanta and Houston's going to be a great series. So now this is a little awkward. Does he pull this into the corner to play for the 8 in the side?
I think he can.
Yeah, I like this. Just go ahead and run it. It kind of wants to do that anyways.
I think that extra length on the table allowed him to get a little more arc on the cue ball, so the 9 really wasn't in play, unlike a 5 or a 4.5 by 9. I think the 9's from that angle is much more vulnerable to hit the cue ball.
And I think these guys, if they remind themselves, I always say how good they are, of course, but that the pocket's playing a little soft with the new felt. That can calm you down if you remind yourself of that. And,
right.
Just kind of trust what you're looking at. These guys are obviously in stroke. I was commenting in the last match, Mark, that I don't know, it's been some 10 years or so since I've seen a couple of months of straight, continuous big events and a lot of great players involved in them from around the world. Pretty special these last few months for pool.
All right, Grabe now 2-1 in front. Virtue of the 7-ball billiard. When does the World Series start? Do you know? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
I was talking to my wife last night trying to figure out which day, but I know they want to use Friday and Saturday for a couple games. So they'll play Tuesday, Wednesday, travel on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday.
And then will you have the $10,000 tickets or will you go less?
Say it again?
Will you have the $10,000 tickets or will you have the cheaper ones?
Tickets, what do you mean? For a game?
Yes.
Oh, I'll be traveling, so I'll be lucky to make it back. And plus, I live in the Dallas area now, so don't reside in Houston, but I'd love to go to the game, that's for sure. Now, this break I've been seeing kind of work off and on for the guys in the first 2 matches. He's going to love this, though. Big pocket on the 2 a little bit.
Yep.
To move the cue ball, a couple rails for the 3, 4 over the side. Main work kind of from the 5 to the 6, maybe?
I think this shot right here, that zigzag and get down there, if he gets on this, I don't think he's going to have he overcut it.
Wow.
Look at, he overcut it, cheated him out of his position.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a pocket there for Dennis, and I don't know if he can get to the good side of the 2 with the 8 being there. He's kind of sizing up to see if he has a pocket, but I'm looking kind of down the line of this, and I don't think he can get at that side of the 2 anyways, if he did have a pocket. kind of feel like the 8-ball's got him cut off a little bit.
Well, certainly not a big pocket. Here on the overhead, I can see it's only half a pocket.
All right, trying to get at it, it looks like. Wow, nice.
What a nice hit.
Yeah.
His father owns a pool room in Estonia, and so he kind of grew up in that. And you can see his game has a maturity beyond someone that's normally his age.
I think he's around 30, if I remember correctly. Maybe 29, maybe 31, somewhere around 30 years old.
Shot clock winding down. He has his extension that will be automatically used. Another 40 seconds. One per rack.
Queuing down. Can he not get into the 7 enough for the side on the 4? I thought he could get into it easily. Looks like the 3's plenty thin enough to get into the 7. Maybe he has to hit it at an easy speed to do that, and he doesn't really feel comfortable easing the 3 in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now digging on the cue ball, so doesn't want to catch any of the 7, I wouldn't think. Oh, he banked it. Wow. Very surprising there, right, Mark? I mean,
Wow.
I didn't see the reason to have to bank that ball, but I do like the rules we're playing under, the old-fashioned 10-ball rules, just like 9-ball.
Yeah, I never liked the call shot rule.
Yeah,
Well, the idea sounds good, but the reality of it is not great because
Yeah.
it takes away the two-way.
There's a lot of things I think that oohs and ahs,
Yeah.
in sports we use round objects because we need a little luck every now and again. You never know what they're going to do. Watch out, cue ball.
Yeah.
So Shaw's going to get to make a little amends of that, what I call an easy miss on the 2 here. But the one part that of course, at this level, guys don't fluke balls in very often, even though we just saw a 3-ball get double banked. But it's more about the missing that they get lucky at. And then also, I think the safety part of the game is kind of easy at this level. So, guy plays an easy stop your ball safety. Now you got to kick 3 rails and call it. I think that's a little out of line, maybe. But
yeah, fair enough. I agree.
Slick table, watch out. There's that extra ball just creeping a little bit like Mark talked about.
Especially when you're talking about you put it on the 5x10 to minimize the luck to begin with.
Right. Really, really powering this one. Wow.
Wow. A really interesting shot there. You see how straight that was? Because he hit it so pure. You can set that up 10 times. You can only scratch 1 when you make the ball.
Yeah.
Because when you hit that power, if you ever hit it microscopically left or right of dead center of the pocket, it arcs 6 inches.
Yeah. Especially on the new felt, right?
Any felt. Efren showed it to me when I was in the Philippines on the worst felt. And I said, no, I'm going to scratch. He said, no, can't scratch. I go, oh, yes, I can scratch. No, can't scratch. And so I shot it, and dang, I was way off. I mean, I made the ball, and it didn't even come close. I would have never thought that. But that power, it's hard to scratch behind that ball.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you need to get by a ball to get to another. One's in the way. And you still catch the ball going by, but you still make the ball you're shooting at. It's like it doesn't seem possible to be able to catch that ball and still make the ball you're shooting at.
Yeah.
But a little thin for just a 3 or 4 ball run here. A little thin on the 10. Watch out cross corner as well with the cue ball.
Good hit.
Watch out cross corner as well with the cue ball.
Oh, boy.
And that's just, I I think something he's supposed to recognize. Maybe the 10-footer made him not recognize that.
With the speed that he hit it, thought that he could stop it in time. Rather than, I think he didn't want to try to influence the cue ball to avoid the scratch because he thought he could roll it, and then it made him a little more accurate because he felt a little lack of confidence on that shot. Nevertheless, 2-2 is our score.
Chip in 10 there with ball in hand and the 10 getting spotted.
Yep.
But normally if there's any flirt, right, the guys will like take it upon themselves to dig on the cue ball or whatever it is. It's almost like the difference between the better players and some of the lower players is like I said, taking it upon yourself instead of risking something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe making the 10 a little tougher shot by digging on the cue ball, but and all in all, not scratching.
Yeah, on brand new cloth like this, and then the balls are polished, but they're brand new sets of balls right at the beginning of the week. So they tend to go further to begin with because if you were to look at a used cue ball that's polished versus a new one under a microscope, you see pitting and scars and scratches from the sand of the chalk and also hitting the floor and all that. So a brand new set of balls always goes 10% further than a polished ball that's used.
Sure.
Good break. Crushed them.
Yeah, Grabe unloading on the rack. The 8-ball's gotten out of the way, so there's a pocket for the 2. The 3's got a lot of congestion, though, but he's got a top English angle to get below the 3, I think, here. So he should find him attacking. Now, does the 3 go by the 5 up in the corner? Does it have the side, maybe?
This is going to take a big shot here. It's going to have to be high left.
Yeah, I think he's fairly natural, though.
Yeah.
Fairly.
Yeah.
I would go for the 3 in the upper left. It looks like to me it agrees with the upper left more than it does the upper right. Oh, he didn't even go for it.
Can't fault him for that. He's tangled it up. And
No, can't fault him, but you play safe early, often, against these top players, meaning with several balls on the table.
Yeah.
They sure do seem to come away clean a lot. Now, Jason certainly hasn't started the match like he wants. I've seen him go matches without mistakes here on the 10-foot, let alone just,
Right.
here having a few mistakes in just a few games.
Well, this is only a second match here. And I watched his first match, and he didn't play JAYSON Shaw-esque at his peak, but he won. Nevertheless, he struggled through, missed a few balls.
You're talking about the 9-foot on the 9-foot?
Yep. Yeah. And then here he's made a couple that by the time we get to his second match here, he will not be making that error.
Well, good several inches short on the 3 in the side here. So with ball in hand, kind of like those last few balls he had, in the last rack when he had ball in hand. Yeah. Really not the tidiest of cue balls here for a ball in hand situation. So he's got to come with a bit of a shot here. Dig on the cue ball, come to the rail, and back out for the 4 in the side. Wow, that wasn't even close. And you know what else? He didn't play very aggressive with the tip position. You saw him just slide the ball there. Didn't draw to the end rail at all.
It's almost like he's cinching balls.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
he tried to cinch the 10, and now he's well, he had ball in hand. He got one ball, right?
Right.
So that tells you, right? I mean, if I have ball in hand and I don't get 3 balls, I am completely pissed, at myself, because there's really no excuse. I understand things happen later on, but when I gave you 1 with ball in hand, and all you have to do is get a little angle. If you can get 3, a lot of times you can run the rack.
So a little tentative for both guys, but
yeah, Jason.
He's going to fall funny here as well.
Well, this is exactly what happens when you're struggling a little bit and cinching balls, and then if anything else goes awry, then it amplifies, and you look horrible at that point. That's how hard pool is. Yes.
Well, it's one thing to win a match, but when you're talking about trying to win tournaments, you have to think long term. And long term that's what like Dennis Grabe and some of the other greats do so well is, even if they make a few mistakes, they really, make sure they're shooting the committed shot. I'm not going to sit here and waver because I've made a few mistakes. And that what gets him in position to win the tournament. You know, like Dennis may go on to win this match somehow, kind of making his way through racks, but that doesn't really lean towards trying to win the event.
Right. Yeah, you can't sustain this level. Go very far. Jacked up, tree-topped.
Yeah.
Can't really fault him. That was a good effort. It was awkward as could be. Everything's slippery and fast. When you're jacked up, it just hampers your accuracy so much.
Yeah, one thing Jason doesn't take a lot of time, but what I've seen so far is when he's down on the ball, maybe cueing a little quickly, even for him. Like, you know, I call it kind of like taking dead aim. Maybe he's just not quite taking dead aim. Now, Grabe, who's had a trouble with the cue ball for a few shots, another one here overdrawing. So what did we talk about at the beginning of the match? He's a guy who relies on his cue ball a little bit more, I think, than his opponents. So
quality shot there.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, Jason's shot really didn't even come close to the pocket. Now it was super hard. And then this last shot didn't come close to the safety, but super hard. But he'll settle down. This is kind of like maybe the opening round of a boxing match where each guy, just sees what the other guy has going on.
Watch out for the slick felt. Easy to hit this thick at pulling the ball. Oh, he almost overcut it. Now watch out, cue ball. That's going to end up a little below the 7 and make this a little funny. He's going to have to work his ball around the 8 and the 10, I think, Mark.
Yeah. You can see him shake his head side to side, recognizing this couldn't be hard.
The thing is that extra foot of distance makes a huge difference, it seems like. Maybe it's mental at times, but
Nice hit there. Good speed, too.
could be on top of the 8 a little bit, but should be okay.
Beautiful shot.
Straight draw, it looks like. Just one rail off the end rail back up. Or has he got is he slim enough on the angle to hold his ball?
No, I thought it was thin. And I thought 3 rails and just take your medicine and don't try to get the 10 ball easy. Just get it away from the 3rd rail just a little bit.
Just play the 10 for the lower right, maybe, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's going to come a little on top of this.
Yes.
So
he's close, and the 10-footer definitely helped there.
he's got to dig on the cue ball a little bit. Taking a long time, and it's not really about the degree of difficulty, in my opinion. Something to do personally, trying to settle himself a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah, these types of shots are ones that these guys knock in all day, but obviously not totally comfortable.
Good shot there. Scratched and clawed through that rack. Made it work. 3-2 is our score. Grabe in front of Shaw.
Lots of outer matches going on, and they will continue all day. Pretty much just round 1 on the winner's side here on the 9-ball side of things here in day 1.
I just love it that now they've got the streaming capacity on every table and the scoring, so you can check the, if you want to see something else. Because a lot of times there's 3 or 4 what would be considered feature matchups going simultaneously. You can only cover one. So.
Yeah, and we'll have the 10-footer covered here for the next 3 days, some 15 matches or so. The single elimination tournament.
Pretty nice break. Didn't get a shot.
The 2's just got him hampered a little bit on the rail first. If the 8 wasn't there, I think he probably maybe plays the rail first and like a safety, overcutting the 1 and running the cue ball. But the 8 makes it very difficult to get around for the safety. Can't roll out to an offensive rail first shot. Certainly wouldn't get it back.
You called it. Well, that turned out good. Got some distance in the way here.
There is an open 1-ball. It looks like he's playing safe, playing the cue ball behind the 3-10. Those are important. Kind of, again, got down quickly on it. Like, that's a pretty hard one to miss, the hit there, if you're, like I said, taking a little more dead aim.
Yeah. And even if the 1-ball was open there, getting positioned on the 2, if you're not going to get positioned, it's a worthless shot to shoot. You can lose with it, but you can't win with it.
Yeah, I didn't mind the safety. I just expected a little bit better with the cue ball from Grabe.
Yeah, just a little lax.
Now, one thing I saw, because I've been around these events these last couple months, is at times a little bit of fatigue from the guys. They have played a lot of pool, and for the most part, it leans towards playing better pool, but you got to be mindful of getting that rest. I saw from Denis Grabe in Ohio at the Pro Players Tour that CSI is running, that I saw at times maybe a little irritation from Dennis, and it looked like to me it was just a little bit of a fatigue thing. So I'm sure he's rested since Ohio and very geared up here for Virginia. But, like golf, it's great when those guys play 3 or 4 weeks in a row. They get in stroke, they get to feeling good, but then they also need that rest. Okay, much better, much more on point there with everything. And besides a great 2-rail kick at the 1, this could get Denis Grabe ball in hand.
Yeah.
I would follow my ball here. 1 in the side, wouldn't you? You would always follow your ball versus drawing your ball. I think, anyways. Your touch is always better with the roll of the cue ball than it is trying to draw it back.
It's easier to judge, but sometimes you play so many shots center ball and below in pool that sometimes you almost feel better cinching them. But
yeah. I kind of relate it to throwing a ball in front of me or behind me, though. Which one am I going to be more accurate?
Oh, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, but his confidence
Yeah.
level
It's like a preference, maybe, yeah.
Well, for him, I agree with what you're saying, but I think he felt like he was more likely to get. He just felt better about it, doing it that way.
Yeah, and all of us, these guys are great, but they could overlook something as well. I mean, that happens. All right. One thing about the 10-foot is you have to play the rack really kind of how it lays. A lot of times you'll see guys try and move the ball for a little easier shot and really not play the line of the run out really as solid as they would on a 9-foot. Kind of looking for that easier shot. I don't think you'll see that as much at this level.
Right.
As other levels, but I think you will see it occasionally, and I think it may cause a mistake as this tournament goes on. Big pocket here with the 4 up the rail. Now Dennis still dealing with the speed of the table. He's gotten straight here. He's going to have to take a little cut on the 7.
Well, he hit that ball pretty heavy, so that took a little of the pace out of the cue ball because it glided into the corner pocket from a long ways, a diamond and a half down the rail. So now he certainly didn't want to nestle in on the rail here with this 6 ball. 7, it kind of makes it play a little bit better. You get back in line here.
That looks like to me he can use the pocket to just come 1 rail over. Cheat the pocket a little bit on the 7 to really hit the line on the cue ball he wants. Now that's the spread. He's got to be hard. I think he's going to be okay, but he was threatening, that's for sure.
Okay, yeah.
But that's that spread that you have to get used to with the new felt and the lights there, putting a little heat on the table. Similar to the Moscone kind of mark, which you know a lot about. It's not so much the pocket size that can really get you, nerves are one thing, of course, but
Yes.
it's not so much the pocket size that really comes into play. It's really the squirt of the cue ball and the slickness of the felt.
Yeah, we're really only about 5 weeks away from that event, too.
Okay, so it seems Dennis getting a little more focused and a little more in tune with the speed of the table.
Well, I think he's starting to zero in the aim like you alluded to earlier. He was a little vague to begin with, but I think he's starting to kind of get this feet on the ground here. We're seeing a little bit more like how I remember Denis Grabe plays. 4-2 is our score. Oh, Kelly Fisher playing it. Okay, that's cool. Going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame here this week. And it looks like she's leading 6-2. Cannot read who she's playing. Or do I see which player she's playing? But
She's playing Justin Martin, a good young player from Wilmington, North Carolina, and Kelly getting the business done over there, up 6-2. Saw Kelly breaking as well. No cut break from Kelly. She's just smashing them. Along with Denis Grabe, and he's pocketed the 6 in the side. Looks like the 1's going to develop with the cue ball open.
I think
So
he made three balls.
At least 3, I think.
3, 4, 7. Yeah, he made 3 balls. That's
a little bit of a tight pocket here on the 1, but not a whole lot of angle to move for the 3, so he may just have to creep to the head string mark, something like that. Great camera view there showing us, of course, he's got enough pocket, but again, if he tries to force the angle here, could catch the 5 coming in and miss this ball.
It's treacherous. Boy, pure.
Yeah, you got a lot out of it. So that shows you how much more comfortable he's become in just a few games, right? Top inside right there. Really being aggressive with the cue ball, where we saw him very passive with the cue ball and a couple shots. So okay, got nice and heavy here. So I think it's going to be the draw stroke is all he's got. Follow is it's a prime example. Slick table, very hard to follow off of this full angle with the ball near the rail there.
Right.
To create the top spin to come back down without the ball hugging. So he's got to dig on the cue ball, I think. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, no, I agree. Your point, because he's hitting so flush on the 5, it takes all the momentum out of the mass and leaves spin, which keeps wanting to go back to the end rail.
Yeah, kind of like a hydraulic, they say, in some kind of trick shots they use where the ball just continually spins near the rail. Maybe it'll cheat it and stun around like that, but that's even hard to do.
Yeah, because how you hit the pocket dictates the length of the cue ball.
Yeah, not much overspin on it. I think he did really well, all things considered. I tell you, I'm watching a young man on the outside, and I've watched him a lot in Ohio, and he's kind of a guy that I think could make a deep run, and it's going to make some here soon, is Oliver Zielinski. You watched him play?
No, I have not.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm pretty decent on the pool knowledge stuff, right? But I learned a lot watching this kid play with safeties, the way he managed the object ball and the cue ball, and he's kind of deceiving. You wouldn't realize how well he runs out also. So, my opinion, keep an eye on him. I think he's a guy that could make a very deep run in this tournament. Another Polish player, I believe. got to be impressed with that
Oh,
country.
Victor Zelensky.
Oh, no, not Victor Zelensky.
Oh.
Oliver.
Okay.
It's similar as the last name. I may have messed up the last name there.
Okay.
Excuse me. He's playing now on table 10 against Hunter Lombardo, but
Yeah, there's some good talent coming up, no doubt about it.
now Grabe to get a 3-game lead. 3-game lead now. That's a decent lead playing alternate break.
Good break and run there for Grabe. That's the first one of the match. 5-2 is our score. Grabe in front.
Good to see Tony Robles back out competing. And it's not just here this week. He's been playing a lot the last month or so, month and a half in tournaments, and talked to him in Ohio. Said he gets a lot of time now in Florida to practice, and he's really been inspired to start playing again.
Yeah, he's a credit to our sport.
And a guy you wouldn't ever guess is, I think, 55 years old now. 56 maybe.
He was voted the most congenial player on the Camel Tour one year. Do you know that?
Yeah, I remember.
You remember the category I won, right?
Which one was that?
Most boring to watch. I mean, come on.
They didn't have that.
They sure did.
They did, really?
In a book.
Oh, in a book, okay.
My wife never lets me forget it. Remember that time you won most boring?
Actually, remember watching a few of your matches on the Camel Tour. Nice shot there.
And that does verify that I deserve that award. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, I just kind of remember bits and pieces of that tour. I loved it.
Golly, it was the best we ever had.
I think as a whole, for sure.
Yeah.
Now JAYSON Shaw couldn't do much on the 2-ball, just had to take on this long shot. He's got to get going a little bit, though, because Denis Grabe's getting more comfortable, and he's going to be breaking the balls every other game. So Jason's got to put a few together.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't want him to get too comfortable.
Jason, who again was selected to the European Mosconi Cup team, last year's reigning MVP.
Well,
is that going to get there?
Nope. I couldn't imagine not having JAYSON Shaw on their team, but if they don't want him, we'll take him. Right?
Yeah, I think, of course, we haven't finalized the U.S. team, that's for sure. But I think you just got to go in there prepared and realize what it's all about. And I think the Americans will be set up to win. Just got to, like I said, be prepared. But of course, any team would love to have JAYSON Shaw.
I'd say.
Eagle eye.
He kind of thrives in that environment, too. He loves the attention and all that.
Yeah, it's, I did too, to be honest with you, and I was a big introvert, but I like the pressure. Anytime, if you're a competitor, pressure is why you're there. So,
yeah.
And that is the epitome of pressure.
Your pool style really played well because it's a slick surface, so people are a little bit that are a little careless with their cue ball. They get punished more quickly. You play pretty careful routes, so you're not exposed to some of the dilemmas that a guy that's a bit casual and then gets nervous.
Yeah, and I always say it that, if you can get yourself feeling well, which for some reason, maybe the setting just made me want to feel well. I'm not sure. Of course, I was prepared going into the Moscone Cup. That has a huge play in all tournaments. But you get a little on the comfortable side, you have a huge advantage over your opponent. I don't care what the paper says, who's the favorite and whatnot. But you get more comfortable, you become the favorite, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good test for sure. Find out what you're made of.
Yeah, Mark, you played in it. Once, was it early or was it twice?
Twice.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the history, I think there's only been 43 Americans ever represent, because there's been a lot of repeats, of course.
Of course,
But,
yeah.
I mean, you look at, what is this year's, like number 25, 27, something like that?
Let's see. We won in 19 to take a 13-12 lead in match scores. So this is 27. They won last year.
Okay.
So it's 13 apiece in
With a tie, which
yeah,
is weird. But nevertheless, my point is this. After 27 years, there's only been 43 Americans ever represent Team USA. I mean,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, if you said 100 and I didn't know that, I would say, yeah, that's about right, probably. Sounds good. But no, it's kind of like a career-defining moment to get to make the team. It's something I'm treasure for the rest of my life.
Just like earlier, a 2-ball really impeding a rail first shot on a 1 for Shaw. Now, these balls, they were hit well, but didn't break that well. You could see a cluster there near the rack. So, I guess he's got a rollout down table by the 8 somewhere, but, I mean, watch out. That may be behind the 8.
Yes. Looks like it's going to the drink.
Well, he's certainly going to get it back.
Good Lord.
Try that again.
That was weird. Well, you can push anywhere. Why would you ever allow that to happen?
Yeah,
you got to be kidding.
3-rail kick is on, isn't it? Can he get below the 9 maybe? Or no? Between the 9-4 is it close?
3-rail, I don't know if we...
Oh, he's masse.
Oh, that's a crazy time.
Big masse.
Yeah.
That shot, it's hard not to overhit it. That's what you always tend to do. Mauro Paez seemed like the only one that could pull the trigger under pressure and really execute those shots.
Well, that was a little bit careless, the whole thing. I didn't like the push out, and I didn't care for that. That wasn't even the best shot from there, but anyway, so be it. Get a good look at the preliminary stats here. 735 for Shaw and 855 for Grabe.
Yeah, overhit that a bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't Zolensky. It was Zolnoki. That's why I got the names a little bit confused there between Oliver and Wichter. I believe both Polish players, but I'll tell you, Poland's been pretty impressive, and I think the most dominant country in Europe, producing some 5 or 6 guys that stay in the top 20 and coming with more, I think.
That Konrad Yasheshin, he's an impressive guy.
He was their best player for a while, but now Fortunsky, I think, has maybe kind of taken over that spot. Fortunsky is one of the most talented players on the planet, in my opinion.
I watched him play at the straight pool event and was quite impressed.
He is, man, he looks like a pure athlete when he's at the table. Very natural stroke from the lefty, and what looks like a 6-10 here to get that 3-game lead back.
It doesn't look exactly on here on the overhead. No. It's hard to tell from here. And then you get the rack interfering because if there's a gap.
I'll tell you, playing off the 6 to the 7 from where he's got to get looks very difficult. I think he can play the combo. He's just got to kind of like hum it in with some pace. He's got to cut the 6 onto the 10 a little bit. He's got, like I said, shoot it with some pace. Yeah, that's exactly where I would like to be. Center hit right here. Looks to me pretty much like he's just stopping the cue ball on the hit on the 6, Mark. May fluke the 6 in 2 rails by the 7 on the upper right-hand corner the way it lays, if he hits it hard enough.
Yeah, the way he aimed that up, it looks like the cue ball will go just a little bit to his left, our right, as we're watching. He overcut it.
Yeah, he overcut it, and now the 6 is going to catch the 7.
Yeah, that was a big shot there. Jason can turn this rack around.
Coming some 4 rails. Watch out, 9 ball. He's got a shot on the 7. Like he can just go forward with the cue ball. Big pocket here on the 7. Oh, he's mishit the 7. He's going to end up on top of the 8 a little bit. Not sure it slows him down, but definitely more work than he... I like going straight up and down here between the 9 10, not with outside. He's going with outside. Watch outside pocket. A little loose with the cue ball, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but he's going to have to be a shot maker from here on out. He is the man for the job. But no matter what, this is still missable. Even with firepower supreme like Jason Shaw possesses.
All right, he's going to end up with a little bit of a tester on the 10. I would go to the upper left, trying to use the rail a little bit to open the pocket. Anytime you're behind the ball, not easy.
Pretty shot. Pretty shot there. 5-4 is our score. Shaw is trailing, but nevertheless, trying to mount a comeback. Balls have not cooperated that well. I've seen Jason Shaw turn this table into a Valley Bar table before. I mean, I've never seen anyone overpower a 5x10. I saw Jason Shaw do it.
Well, it's 5-4 now. Grabe had I thought, a very makeable combo, and seeing as how he overcut it makes me think it was very makeable with the 6 near it and on top of the rack, but chance to get back to 3-game lead, but now only ahead by 1. Kazakis, after taking a loss and out of the Bigfoot Challenge now because it's single elimination, he's up 8-4 on his first match on the outer table. Kelly Fisher up 8-2 on Justin Martin. Just how impressive is she?
She's the real deal.
Yeah,
she can beat anybody a set.
That's for sure.
And then you talk about fun players to watch. I mean, her nickname says it all, Quickfire.
Well, the one thing that I see with Kelly, and, I wouldn't say all very accomplished players, like she's been number 1 in her side of the sport at different times for a while, that she doesn't settle. She's always looking to improve is the feeling I always get from Kelly. She's always very much asking about information when she's around the guys. And, where you see some that get to the top, like she has, they can settle pretty easily at times.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't ever get the feeling of that from her.
Right. A sincere, sweet, genuine person on top of it, not egotistical. I saw her last night. I hadn't seen her for a while. Right away, she's up out of her chair and coming over and saying hi to Mark.
Yeah.
Just respect.
Well, she's a lady, pool's tough, but she's had other battles as well that she's had to fight through. So I think she's just an appreciated person, period.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the world of her. I was working on the women's tour when she won her very first stop, which was in San Diego, and then she went on to win it like 3 years in a row. We used to call it the Kelly Fisher benefit over there, San Diego.
Pretty nice place to have a benefit, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
San Diego, pretty sweet. Tricky little shot with ball in hand here. Shot, I say you got to use your talent a little bit, kind of floating into position. doesn't really have that, guaranteed route on the cue
Right.
ball, like where you can hit this rail, that rail, and it gives me a little time to kill the ball. And
See, I don't really care for this route if he's going one rail at it or no rails down
Yeah.
here. I'd rather go across than Z it.
I think he's coming towards the 10, trying to play the 2 in the side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it was
Wow.
a little easier to do.
Look at that speed control. Yeah, that was the better shot, no question. But boy, you got to hit a good ball there. Then, like you were saying, with ball in hand, you got to hit a good ball. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a time where that is true. Well, he
Now,
fell short of that.
I think Dennis is a little underdog to win this tournament, of course, but here's a guy who is still looking for that big, big win. He's threatened a lot of times. Hasn't made the Mosconi yet for Europe, and that's understandable just because it is so difficult on that side. But, he's had some Euro wins on the Euro Tour,
Yeah.
but really still looking for that big international win and that big international field. And it's amazing when you look around the room, as many great players as there are, there's quite a few guys like that. Okay. Sometimes when he pulls the trigger, I'm not always convinced by his body language.
Uh-huh.
Dennis, it's hard to get a read on him.
Same for me. I have a hard time with him, too. He'll go in purely, but his body language suggests he wasn't happy with the impact. So-
Right. What happens is a lot of times the guys still make the balls, but they feel a little flinch in the stroke. And it's mainly that's not a nice feeling, but they don't want that to continue. People used to ask me, Jeremy, why are you shaking your head? You have perfect position or good position. And I tell them it has nothing to do with the position. It was the stroke I didn't like too much.
Yeah.
And, if the shot was a little tougher, it might have cost me the shot. And that's why you see me kind of having a conversation with myself. Okay, he's still got to work his ball. The 8 does not pass the 9.
Yeah, it's a tough rack. He can get out of this one.
Yeah, and he's a little off angle to where he's got to follow his ball. It looks like to me anyways. He could draw on top of the 8, but I think that's dangerous.
Boy, he had a good ball there, didn't he?
Yeah, got to go a little bit, just enough.
That was not an easy shot. You got to hit
No.
that purely, and even to just get this, which is not ideal. He wouldn't have minded having a stop shot, but I'm sure he's delighted to get here because you're in no man's land all the way till you just stop right where it did.
Yeah, the follow, just because there isn't much of a bounce off the rail, like when the table's a little more worn in. That heavy hit on the 7.
Yeah.
Whew. A lot of guys miss that ball, trying to get a lot more out of the cue ball.
Yeah, super high quality run out there, and a 6-4 lead now for Grabe. Yasmin Lelchichi sends me that Grabe has 3 Euro Tour wins. And it seems to me that he finished second here one year, but I cannot recall if it was the U.S. Open or if it was the International Open.
Grabe did?
He had a big finish here once, I know. Maybe it was third, fourth.
Yeah, I don't recall second. I don't think.
Well, it was deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. He's made some deep runs. I think he's had a Kremlin Cup or 2 that were pretty decent, if I remember correctly. He's, of course, the European games, which are always important for the Euros and their status there and with their country and whatnot. But European championships, I should say, not the games. But
Oh, I think I might be confusing him with Max
Legner. Yeah, Legner had a deep run. Yeah,
he hit a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Another tall guy, kind of not quite as tall as Grabe, but all right.
Pretty good break.
And that looks like the speed to me. When they're really unloading on them, they aren't getting as consistent movement on the balls towards the pocket, it seems like.
You make 4 balls on that
He
break?
made a bunch. I know that. He's got a thin
5.
cut here.
5 balls? Wow. Okay. We haven't seen that before. This event, anyway.
Yeah, you think he may go for the... he's looking at cutting this and going into the 2, I believe. A lot of times when the guys, aren't too far away and the ball isn't too far from the hole, they'll take this edge-on-edge cut here. I wouldn't pass it myself. Good thing is, making 5 on the break, if he does make it, very hard to get snookered on the 2 ball. You may not end up with the greatest shot, but...
Oh, that was the bright side, for sure. He's got a lot of work in front of him. 1, he's got to cut this in. 2, he's got to hit the 2.
And the thing is, if I wouldn't spin this, not on the newer felt. I like just flat ball. Yeah, he's got to go into it, take his chances. Deserves a little bit of a roll there, making a nice shot on the 1. And now he can cue the ball with a little draw. A little bit of angle here, but not much.
Still looks awkward, though. Does a 5 go clean? Yeah, I guess the 5 does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, okay.
But the new felt, this is the type of shot if you try to use a lot of right. A hair of right is okay, but a lot of right to help this shot, you could easily deflect into thick. So, and if you flinch a little bit, Mark. So maybe a hair right, but not much. Nice clean stroke there.
Yeah, he made that look easy.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's one sign of a champion, and one thing you should always be trying to do is improve as the match goes along and improve as the tournament goes along. I think that's one thing that is missed when talking about the Moscone at times. Don't rate yourself right from the get. If you can improve every time, then you're going to give yourself and your team a chance to win. And looks like another 3-game lead, and we're nearing the finish line a bit here, Mark. In the middle of the match, you might say, but
well, that's his second breaking run out of the match. And that's the only way to beat JAYSON Shaw is to keep him off the table.
Well, I think also, well, of course, we'll see JAYSON break in the alternate format, but I think what I've seen is Denis has found the speed on the break, not just because he made 5, but all the balls kind of going in the direction they're supposed to, where we've seen JAYSON really unload on the rack, and he's had a couple of dry breaks behind it.
Yeah, with the super slick cloth particularly, sometimes you can overpower the rack.
Yeah, it seems to me that, the guys, when they're breaking them their best, now they're all a little different, but somewhere around 3/4, 75% seems like the speed that really agrees with the template rack.
And then when you swing at that speed, it's much easier to get the accuracy. So sometimes you get just as much ball action anyway.
Right. Basically what Mark's saying is you get the most out of what you swung with. So you're going to, like you said, get more action. A lot of 10-ball movement there. Not something we'll see a lot, but
3-6. Yeah, there it is. He hit him harder and got less ball. I mean, clearly didn't even make 1 ball with more power, and the other guy made 5 balls with a little bit less power.
Oh, this is fooling me. I didn't think he could see enough of the 1 to put him accurately behind the 7, but it looks like he's going to bank the 1 up behind the 9, play the cue ball behind the 7.
Pretty good cue ball there.
Yeah, made the 2-rail kick very difficult. With the new felt, you would think this is an easy one, but you can miss this one. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yep, it's just a tough hit. Can't fault him on that effort either. That wasn't a careless shot. That was just how hard it was.
He's shooting the 110.
And he's got a safety behind it, so that kind of makes it a little bit more exciting.
And I think it's just getting shape on the 3 is the main issue. The 4-5 looks a little clustered, but with the 3 near, you can manage that. It's just a matter from the 2 to the 3 looks pretty tough.
I think the safety part of it makes this like so calming. Like you're mainly playing safe. If you make the 10, that's a bonus, but you're for sure getting safe. That's got to be your priority when you shoot this. You can't just go naked at it. Oh man, another great shot. So he's got a couple quick combos. Remember early, I think rack 1, he had a convenient one, and then he missed one. 8-4 is our score, and the dry break cost JAYSON Shaw big time there.
Well, we saw a few early wins in our last match. So maybe at times the guys willing to take on a combo here on the 10-footer that they may not shoot on the 9-footer. I don't think that was the case there. I think they're all shooting the 10 there with the safety in mind. But
yeah.
Tell you a guy that's impressed me, and I've been around him a little bit, but not a ton, just because I don't play very much anymore. But I got to room with him in Austin and got to really follow his game. Not only the last couple of years, but here the last couple of months is Naoki Oi. That is a guy that I think has gained mucho respect from a lot of players here these last couple of months.
Yeah.
Not only just for his results, but just the way he fought through a lot of one-loss side tournaments, or losing early and, runner-up at the Predator World 10-ball, semifinalist at the U.S. Open 9-ball, made a deep run at the Texas State Open after losing his first match. So just a lot of great events for Oi, and I think you'll probably see another one here from, the Japanese champion as this week goes on. I'm not sure if he's in the 10-foot event, though.
I don't believe he is. And I'll tell you, another thing about him that I really like is his attitude, his demeanor. He's pleasant, cheerful, engaging.
Well, kind of almost something he became famous for, not only in the pool world, but kind of worldwide, really, with some things, interviews and whatnot. But I think it's his game that everyone's going to end up talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
Now showing good line here to clear this rack.
Grabe hit them well, dry break, but certainly more ball action than JAYSON got when he hit him harder.
He's a little distance and straight. And the good thing for JAYSON is the 6 is very playable. Got to screw the cue ball back past the 8. Open bridge, too. How amazing is that, Mark?
Well, to me, how effortlessly he gets tons of draw on the ball. I've never seen anyone swing that easy and get, look at here, he drew it all the way, he drew it, really overdrew it. I guess he didn't want to come up short. He's not afraid of a little extra length on a shot. Oh, boy. Well, it's a huge game here for Grabe if he can get it. Because to convert a open rack that you figure Shaw got a great likelihood to get and then get that on your side.
I think he's got to do a little something here. This looks like with the cue ball on the rail, like maybe
super
going
tough
towards the corner with the cue ball.
No, it's all you can do to make the 6, let alone get position. So
if he can do it with the level cue, it should be something like 8 or 9 out of 10. But here, see, he has to elevate.
Yeah.
So that makes both making the ball and speed control very difficult. Oh, he hit it sweet. He hit it sweet.
Boy, what a shot that was.
Well, yeah, just look how controlled it not only looked, but felt to me, even though he had to elevate.
That was a tremendous shot.
Yeah, the cue ball never really looked like it was going to get in trouble. Maybe not perfect on the 7, but never in trouble.
Yeah, it almost looked like he had a hint of inside spin. I don't know if it was inadvertent or by design, but when it hit this end rail, you see how it kind of came back towards the 8.
Well, I was so impressed when you're trying to create a little power and an angle like that, easy to overhit the ball. And he kept in a lot of control, even though he elevated the cue. And so to me, Grabe looks way more, let's say, comfortable than Shaw, even though Shaw is kind of like, his middle name is kind of comfortable,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
the one thing that Dennis has got to stay away from is just a very big glaring mistake to try and maybe even wake Jason up a little bit.
Use the heavy side of the pocket to get an angle to get behind the side pocket there. Make sure he didn't scratch.
Yeah, that one rail pulling it out to the center from those angles. I talk about as a shot you need to have, but it's an uncomfortable shot without using that second rail.
Right. Boy, nice conversion there. We've seen some really stellar, tough position plays from Grabe.
Now, it's funny that Jason put the break cue away. Looks like he's going to break with his playing cue. Not happy with the results he's getting on the break. I mean, I think Jason will tell you too, he's made some mistakes after the break. It hasn't been just the break that has cost him this deficit, but definitely wanting to make a change.
Definitely took some pace out of it and made a ball. Did he get a shot? Maybe a rail first shot?
No, he's got a good shot, whether it be rail first or ball first. Not going to be unhappy with this, with the 2 over the side as well. A little bit of a combo on the 3-5. Got to pay attention to, but
It's controlling the 3 on the combo. It's not making the ball. Oh, he played perfect position there to control the 3. That was nice. He's down waiting for the ball to quit, but
I think he can go 3 rails. He may have to draw.
shooting a little downward, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a nice hit.
Well, he knows the slick table and how the ball releases. Making his way through rack number 14 with no problems. Going to get back on the board here. He's gonna need some help from Dennis, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's his first break and run out of the match, and that's very unusual for him. I've did a lot of his 10-foot table matches, and he's good for at least 3 per set generally. Grabe has 2 break and run outs thus far. Kelly Fisher won over there. I now see Shane Van Boning warming up on that table.
And if I can read that correctly, he plays Han from Singapore, so no light match at all for Shane here in the first round.
Han's a pretty cool guy.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he can play too.
No question.
He's also traveling with Yap and Shark Syed. Shark, who defeated Chris Robinson earlier. You talked about it, a couple of your Lindenwood guys there, and I wouldn't say a grave mistake, but a pretty decent mistake here, giving a ball in hand and definitely on Dennis a little bit.
On a wide open table. Yeah, Yap, Aloysius Yap, finished second at the U.S. Open 10 ball, third at the U.S. Open 10 ball, second U.S. Open 9 ball.
U.S. Open 10 ball?
Wasn't it out in Las Vegas, or what was the event?
The Predator World 10
Predator,
ball.
Okay,
yeah,
Predator. Then he goes to Michigan, wins that tournament. So that's third, second, first, and then
the U.S. Open he finished second as well.
No, that's what I'm saying. The U.S. Open 9 ball. Then, so that was a third, second, and a first, all in just a matter of a few weeks. Then that was Saturday night. He leaves Michigan, drives to Central Illinois, and we work on his stroke for 2 days. And I'm talking 12-hour days. I mean, there's a guy that wants to get better.
Right.
That was amazing. And that's where I first got to meet Han. Of course, I knew Sharik. I think the world of those three guys. Big upside. Aloysius is only 25 years old.
Right.
Well, Shaw is motoring right along here. A little bit like Earl back in his day when Earl would be behind 9-5. The reality of it, you're about tied.
Right.
You might win, you might not. You might not hardly shoot.
Okay, Jason Shaw, again, with the ball in hand after the break, makes a quick clearance of rack number 15, and now cuts the lead 9-6. He will be breaking in the next. Got a chance to get it down to 2 games.
Got a little momentum going there. He broke and ran on his first rack of the match, and then he followed it up with a ball in hand and open layout. Cleared those off pretty nicely. Got a little momentum back his way. 9-6 is our score. You just have to learn to win with your B game sometimes. I don't think this is classic Jayson Shaw performance at all, but he hasn't quit. Sometimes people get a little disgusted, and while they don't physically quit, they mentally just go through the motions throughout the match. I'm not seeing that here.
Watch out, cue ball.
I think he made a ball.
Yeah, he's going to get a 1 ball that's covered up by the 7 in a very difficult position to roll out. May have to roll out to like a rail first shot.
He's definitely not in the mood to roll out. Yeah, he's at least measuring it.
I think he's got to roll out behind the 2 and 3 over here to a rail first that really doesn't lean towards making it, whoever takes the shot.
I think he's really seriously going to curve this around. I don't think.
Man.
I know, but I don't think he's in the mood to roll out. He's maybe rethinking that a little bit.
No, he's looking to kick at this maybe and put him on the 2, try to cut it. A little bit on the kick and put him on the 2, go to the rail with the cue ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice
Boy,
hit.
what a nice shot.
Nice hit there.
That's the world champ in action. Yeah, from an ugly place. Kind of like you said, it's just so tough to roll out to these good players. And that's why that rule died a long time ago. You got a kick. The best you can do is push out to a kick. So, yeah, let's just clean that up. We don't need it. Doesn't serve a purpose. It's like a appendix.
I'm stubborn on the rules, but it is the one I commented on it in the last tournament that I would entertain changing is no rollout after the break. I think it's actually an equalizer when it comes to the break a little bit.
I think it's confusing for introducing the sport to new fans. So that's the reason I'm really against. I actually like the rule to play it. It's okay, but it doesn't solve anything. The big, like you said it earlier, the big area of luck in pool is when a guy misses and leaves you hooked.
Yeah.
It's not how many balls they luck in or the fact that you have a push out after the break. That doesn't decide the match. So Grabe was able to kick and hit that ball. He leaves an open one, but a very tough time to get back down table. You're going to have to really pop this. Yeah, that's the problem. Uh-oh.
Yeah, now he's going to have to show some of that kicking prowess again.
Wow, and this is a very open layout here, too, if Grabe gets a good look at the 2-ball here. What a nice hit. A kick and stick from that
Watch
distance.
out, 10-ball. And Grabe may be forced to go at this. A little bit of a two-way shot here, playing to the backside of the 3. Got plenty of angle on the 2, so he can move the cue ball easily and kind of contain the 2 if he misses it, I believe, around the pocket somewhat. If he's a little thicker here, can't get the cue ball travel and really play the two-way shot.
Yeah,
but being
I
a little
agree.
thin, I think he's okay. He makes it, huge bonus. Oh, he's overcut it badly, so the cue ball's not going to hit the route he wants or the object ball.
He really jumped up on that, too. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
He was before the impact on the 2-ball, he was standing upward.
All right, so a safety here. Almost left a gap there, but I think he did pretty well. Good speed on the cue ball.
He's going to have to masse around the 5 and twirl back into the 2 here. It's going to take a good shot. He hit it. Oh, he almost made it.
I'll tell you, it pays to hit him.
From that distribution of the balls, I would never think the 2 is going in the side. I mean, it came close, but it just didn't even look because the 2 was in here.
Yeah, it looked like the 9 and the 5 had that possibility cut off. Okay, and that's why it pays to hit him. You know, a shot that we see Eagle Eye knock in most of the time. I mean, you're going to say 18 out of 20 probably.
Yeah.
But, you know, Grabe wearing on him in the match here.
Mm-hmm.
So, big shot here. Pretty natural to come back and forth between the 8 and the 3 with the cue ball. This shot gets him probably to the heel. I mean, he's still got some work left to do with the other 7 balls remaining on the table, but this is the one, it looks like. Well, I like him playing the extra 3rd rail there, Mark. Really letting the stroke out a little bit. And I think that's sometimes like he started out, remember the match? Kind of like trying to simplify the shot. Now he took on the shot and committed much better. Same thing here. Just 2 rails across, but commit.
In the first track, it was a tactical game that went back and forth, and you were saying that was kind of playing into his. He needs to get wearing on JAYSON Shaw right away. He didn't want to do a foot race. He wants to make it a tactical battle as much as possible.
Yeah, and it doesn't always go to games won. You know, Jason's great at that part of the game as well, but JAYSON Shaw is one of those types like a filler. You don't want him to get the feeling he's playing by himself out there.
Yeah.
Okay, he's landed a little funny. He's going to have to probably just stay right there and take a little cut on the 7 and maybe rub the 8 going by. I think I'm looking right down the barrel here, Mark, and if he really tries to work the cue ball a lot, I think he could make a missable 6 ball here. Make this 6 missable.
Yeah. It looks to me like if he stops the cue ball, it's going to be more than just rub the 8.
Yeah,
but bump.
Yeah, he
we'll
won't.
say.
He won't hit the 7 super hard to the hole, though.
No.
You know, there's a pretty big pocket, right?
Right.
And he doesn't want the 8 and the cue ball to separate, really.
Yeah. And
so
no matter what, he wants to, whatever speed he feels most comfortable, get the 7 down, no matter what happens.
Yeah, remain pretty tidy and close to the 8. So he could even roll it, really. Nothing wrong with that. Send in the 8 towards the upper corner. Not bad. Don't know if he can go forward, though. It looks like to me the corner may be in play for the cue ball a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's why he's going down table. He just wants to take a look at where he's going to have the cue ball next, so it's not a surprise. He knows he can make it from down there, but he just wants to kind of get the feel of it, and that way it plays more comfortable psychologically.
Yeah, and plus drawing the ball, he's got a choice. He can draw a foot out, 2 feet out, you know, kind of what he wants. Oh, he decided to go 3 cushions.
Look at that shot. Wow, what a shot.
So you think
that's real
much more comfortable than the beginning of the match.
I do.
And this is what I like seeing, because this is the type of Denis Grabe it takes to win the tournament. Not just win this match, but to win the tournament. I've been talking about it a lot with baseball. Baseball much different than most sports. They look to win the World Series, so they make moves early in other series thinking about trying to win the World Series because they have pitchers to deal with and whatnot, where I think the Astros made a bit of a mistake in that regard, but we'll see what happens. A thin 10 ball now. Type of shot when the nerves are high. The better players rarely hit it thick. If they do miss it, they overcut this ball a little bit, and that's not on purpose. That's just the way they tend to miss, where the amateurs would hit it thick, believe it or not.
Yeah. Boy, the whole cue distorted out to his side. So, he was definitely not comfortable with that hit. 10-6 is our score, however. And JAYSON Shaw now is in that position where he must win 5 consecutive racks.
Yeah, playing alternate break and with a guy that looks like he's getting better and better, that being Denis Grabe. So tough proposition. Talked about it earlier. He's going to need a little help from Denis. You would think anyways.
Like to make the most of this break effort.
Joey Tate.
He powered him up that time.
I'm looking at Joey Tate over here. He's going to enjoy a early round match for the young man against Naoki Oi here. And going to be kicking it off here in a moment.
He's a really good kid.
And he's also going to be playing in the junior event. Is that right?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I don't know what the age. I know he's flirting with what. He's not 18 yet, is he? No.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think so, but he'd have to be close. All right, so Grabe has made the 1 ball, but now he has the 2 ball way down table. Going to push out. Pushed out to a kick.
Yeah, well, the thing about this kick is when you're straight across like that, you feel like you can be pretty accurate to get, to the bottom of the 2, maybe use the 10 to slow the cue ball down, maybe not hit the 10 at all, but try and bang that 2 up table. Maybe you fluke it in the side.
Even cross side.
Yeah. He hit the wrong side of it. He hit the wrong side of the 2. So he knows that was an opportunity.
Mr. Gomez. Table number 9, Mr. Tate and Mr. Orr. Table number 10, Mr. DeBreo and Mr. Childress. Table number 11, Mr. Francisco and Mr. Crane. And on the table number 12, Mr. Flowers and Mr. Coleman. Gentlemen, please prepare to left.
Jason going about his work here, trying to make it short. Eight, nine, 10. The 9's pretty deep in the pocket. Floats the cue ball close.
Yeah, alternate break. I'm not sure what the odds are exact. Oh, he's going to end up on the rail a little bit here. Should be okay, but probably want another 6 inches out of the cue ball.
Eli cleans up the mess. 10-7 is our score. Yeah, it was kind of like Grabe got amped up a little bit there on that break, and then he wanted to muscle up and power him. And he made the one finally. Pushed out to a kick on the 2, hit it. Jayson Shaw then cleaned up. Grabe playing at an 870 clip at this juncture of the match. That's pretty high quality playing. Normally, if it was a 9-foot table, 900, good. 10-foot table, 870. Really good.
Well, especially with some early mistakes, right? So he's had that TPA climb up as the match has gone on. And now, besides the 5-6, is it tied up? And
Yeah.
I don't know if he can do something with it now on the 1. Besides that, he's got a great shot on the 1.
Oh, boy.
Did he get there? No. Don't think he
seems-
did. He wants an edge of this to play safe. Oh, and talk about an edge. He hit it twice. That's how thin he hit it. And
And got
still
safe.
got behind the 6.
Got a little break on that one.
Okay, doesn't appear the kick shot's working out for Grabe here late in the match, and it's been both on the 2 ball. Now, is this a little funny to get to the 3? It looks like it passes the 9 mark. Looks like the 3 passes the 9.
Yeah, it's
Slowly go by the 6 here with a little bit of right spin. Oh, he caught the 6, so watch out, cue ball.
he definitely didn't want to hit the 6 there. You can just
No,
see
and
the speed
now-
was all off, direction's wrong.
Yeah. Don't know if he passes up on this bank or not. I mean, you would think normally he would come across this fully and try and maybe even go 1 rail and bump the 4 using the 9. Not too bad to me, anyways, bumping the 4 here. Oh, is he going to get there?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he did.
Dandy.
Bumped the 9 doing
Good
it, so
shot.
that's not one
Yeah.
you would predict very often, but
He had pretty nice speed. Trickled that cue ball right in there into the gap of, or right into the 2 balls that were impeding him. Not an easy kick here because it looks like he got some elevation. Yeah, he's looking. Yeah, that gives you an indicator of what when you elevate and you're that close to the rail, the cue ball can warp on you quite easily.
I'm trying to see that the 9's really got him cut off of any up table kick. Looks like anyways. The thing about the swerve is you never can get much speed on it. So even though elevated right here, I kind of still feel like that might be the way to go.
This is the shortest, most direct route.
Yeah. Now, if there isn't a ton of swerve here, he can come across the bottom or the top and have action at getting some type of safety. It's just a matter if there's enough speed. He's made it. He needs that to keep going to get a little decent kick on the 4. Whew. 2 rails? I mean, what else are you going to do?
Right.
You want to make sure you hit this.
I don't think you have any other choice.
He might love this, is all I can tell you. He might really love this.
Great shot.
10 may fly here. All right, so Grabe's going to get a long shot at the 4. Got a pocket to the lower right. This is normally one the guys would attack on. Got to kind of stun the cue ball by the 9. Maybe it comes 2 rails between the 9-10. The 5 very available.
Now, that would be a beautiful shot from this range.
That's the kind of shot that, you want to put a hair right on it, but don't put too much right. This kind of shot, he's got a pretty big pocket coming across the spot-ish with the 4. So I like his chances as long as he doesn't spin the ball too much.
This is a match-winning shot right here.
That's right. Yeah, sweet. Sweet shot. Didn't slow roll it, huh, Mark? And then shot it.
Now, I like he was committed to that shot. There was no ambiguity like we saw where he was tentative early on.
It's the first time I heard you use that word in this match, Mark.
Which one?
Tentative? You made a trademark of ambiguity.
No.
In pool. All right, probably goes to the rail. Could just draw it. It's up to him. Oh, my.
After such a good shot, then he kind of faltered a little bit.
He got a little lucky as well, I think, anyways. Yeah. Even though I think he's an underdog.
I can't see from here what we...
The 10. If the 10 wasn't there, Shaw's a favorite to make this, in my opinion, off the long rail. Or, excuse me, the long kick shot off the short rail. Now he's got to bend it. Oh, he hit it sweet.
Wow. What a nice hit that was.
Yeah. Now Grabe with a decently big pocket where the 9's at. That's cutting it backwards, though. You may see him shoot that with a high ball if he elects to play the 5 by the 9. Just level out and come 3 rails with the cue ball. The tendency on that shot is to want to overcut it a little bit to try and help the cue ball movement.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
I'll tell you, it may bode well here with the 9 being there. We'll see. Oh, he hit it sweet. And he did overcut it just a shade, but he put a nice committed stroke, which opened the pocket up a little bit, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, he even had some inside spin with that, so he was feeling pretty good about that one.
He's going to get away with one, it looks like, and probably advance here. But you got to be impressed, though, overall. Started off what I think a little tentative, and I don't know if he had a talk with himself or not, but he certainly changed things about a third of the way through the match.
Yeah, as he started to get more opportunities and more time on the table, it seemed like he really found his comfort zone.
And I think Jason would tell you the same, that, that's a little hot there. That's a little hot, and as tall as Grabe is, it could be a funny stretch. But I think Jason would tell you, not the match that he wanted, but still, you got to give Grabe a lot of credit.
Yeah, there's not many guys who can here latch on to JAYSON SHAW 5 by 10.
I wouldn't be surprised this is conceded.
Yeah, nice match. Really good.
So we're going to lose a 3-time champion here, but looking to crown a new one. Right, Mark?
And that's how tough this field is. I mean, you got world-class players. Anyone can beat anyone. So kind of a testimonial to that. Well, great job, Jeremy. And that's all for right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with another match. So long for just a while.